The feathered star block gets its name for the small triangles that we call feathers. These are made of two triangles making up a square. In this small size, it's hard to make them accurate, and I have a way to make them called bias strip piecing. To do bias strip piecing, you'll first need a ruler that has clearly marked squares with a good diagonal line through each square. I've made these two rulers, the Precision Trimmer 6 and the Feathered Star ruler, to help me with this process. To make the bias strip setup, you'll first need two squares, one light and one dark. You put them right sides facing, and then you'll take your ruler and your rotary cutter and make a diagonal cut, which is also the bias. So that's your first cut. Then you'll stack your triangles and measure from that center cut the width of your strips, and then you'll have two sets of strips, and you'll have some leftover triangles here that you want to save. To make this strip setup from the strips we've cut, we take the strip pairs and sew them together on the long side and press the seams open. Then you'll take your strip pairs and sew them together with one seam here in the middle so that you have dark, light, dark, light. You'll also want to take your corner triangles and sew those together because those can be units as well. So now we're going to cut a square from the strips, and what we found on the ruler is a square of the size we want to cut, and I've marked it with a piece of blue tape right in the corner so I can find that shape over and over again. Then I'm going to take the diagonal line on the square and place it exactly on the seam line of my strips. Then I'll hold it down, and I'm cutting this a little bit larger than it needs to be. I'll take my rotary cutter and I'll make my first cut up and then my second cut over to separate it from my strips, and then I'll turn my piece around, and this time I'm going to cut it to exactly the size it needs to be. And again, I'm centering that diagonal line on the seam line. Now I've trimmed this down, and what I have now is a perfectly pieced two triangle square. It's already pressed, and it has straight grain on the outside edges where it needs to be. The two triangle square that we've made with bias strip piecing can be used in hundreds of pieced quilt block designs. I've used it in my table runner for the corner here to make birds in the air. I use it for my feathered star blocks. This one is called a Star of Chambly. And I've also used the same technique to make a miniature feathered star. This is a 7.5-inch finished radiant star.